So as India battles this huge COVID surge, Ravichandran Ashwin has pulled out of the Indian Premier League. He says he wants to spend more time with his family as they battle COVID-19. Now, 3 other players have also pulled out. The question that's now being asked, is it time to stop the Indian Premier League?
The wait is finally over. It is time for the 2020 of 2020. Now, on behalf of the
Indian Premier League, they call it India Ka Tyohar. With the country in turmoil due to raging COVID cases and havoc caused by it, the IPL continues.
That's got him. Just left him ever so slightly, and that's a big wicket.
With the IPL now in its 3rd week, players have started to feel the heat.
Way down the mid-wicket and into the boundary for 4.
Delhi Capital spinner R. Ashwin has opted out of the IPL due to reasons related to COVID-19, which has affected his immediate family. As far Indians in the IPL are concerned, Ashwin may have taken the lead, but so far 3 Australians, Andrew Tye, Kane Richardson and Adam Zampa and Livingstone have already pulled out and flown back. The IPL now moves to its 2nd leg in Delhi, which saw 23,000 cases and 350 deaths on Sunday, with the medical infrastructure crippled due to lack of resources. The IPL was initially planned to be staged in only 2 cities, and later that was increased to 6 cities.
And that's gone all the way.
Voices are already growing against the IPL, and the pullouts have only added fuel to the fire. The tragedies and horror stories have made the sentiment of the country a stark contrast to what IPL is aimed to bring with it, the celebrations. Sports Bureau, India Today.
Joining me on the broadcast, Suman C. Raman, doctor and sports commentator, Saira Shah Halim, social activist, strongly advocates life over sport. But my first question is to India Today's Boria Majumdar. Boria, could other players also pull out? It's being said, whether it's the English players or the Australian players or players from New Zealand, they're nervous.
Yes, the situation is absolutely dire, and that we all know. The first thing is, Ravichandran Ashwin, Kane Richardson, Adam Zampa, each one, our hearts go out to them, and each individual is entitled to taking his or her own call. That is my point. And I also envisage some others pulling out. That's what I've heard. I've spoken to a number of cricketers. Some others might also decide to opt out and go back, because a lot of the countries have put put India on the red list, and players are apprehensive how they will go back to their individual countries, and that is also prompting them to take these calls. So these are very important signals. Having said that, a lot of players also will support the IPL. If you see Pat Cummins, I've spoken to David Warner, I've spoken to a number of other international players, Joss Butler. They all want to contribute to the IPL and be with the people of India at these hard times, because they benefited from the IPL. This is their time to give back.
No, Pat Cummins has actually contributed $50,000, and that's very heartening. But Saira Shah Halim, is there merit in BCCI or some in the government saying that people are anyway home? There is some entertainment. It's a stress buster. What's wrong if it goes on?
So, Gaurav, this government statement reminds me of the Romans, They use these tactics and these games, these gladiatorial games, to distract the populace from the abysmal failure of the empire, and they wanted to distract the empire by playing games, by having theatres across the empire. So what the Bharatiya Janata Party government is doing is they're doing exactly that. They're trying to distract the focus away from a raging pandemic that is killing people, that is taking away so many lives. It is unprecedented, the kind of people who are pleading for help. There are people who are losing their sons and daughters, and even the young are going away. So in this unprecedented time, even the famous British broadcaster, Piers Morgan, has given a statement that India's focus should be just on the raging pandemic. Let's all
Suman C. Raman, respond. How is this a stress buster when people are dying in thousands every day? 3.5 lakh cases just today. Isn't this a distraction from combating COVID?
Okay, there are two points that I want to make. And the first one is that I very strongly believe that unless infrastructure in the form of either health infrastructure or the government machinery is taken away to attend or tend to the IPL, I think that except this one particular issue, I think that it should go on. I'll give you a few reasons why.
Yes.
One, the whole country is passing through an extremely severe crisis. And there are fairly serious mental health issues that are emerging. India is one of the most areas, and we haven't even scratched the surface of what kind of problems are there in society today as a result of all that's happened in the last year and a quarter. Now, this IPL is giving people 3 to 4 hours, and it's giving hundreds of millions of people 3 to 4 hours of time mentally away from their problems. Now, this is actually in a form, in some ways, it could actually be therapeutic. So I don't see that as the problem. What I see as a problem is playing it in Delhi.
Okay. Okay, response Saira Shah Halim as we restore that phone call.
Does it mean the IPL?
Okay, response Saira Shah Halim. The Prime Minister also said lockdown as a last resort. Let the economy also function, and sports has a big economy. So what? People are not going to the stadia. People are watching. Advertising is happening. Why not let it happen in one corner for 3 to 4 hours? People are indoors. It's a stress buster.
Now, this is reminding me of the Queen of France, Mary Antoinette. If there's no bread, let them eat cake. So the BJP is sounding exactly like that today we cannot resolve the ongoing pandemic crisis. So how do we distract the anger, the visible anger that people have because they've lost their loved ones? So let them eat cake. No, I'm sorry, these deflection tactics should not work. Everything else should be there, should be on hold, and I feel everyone should come together, be it opinion makers, shapers, stars, influencers, whoever it is, and put the perspective where it rightfully belongs, and that is this raging pandemic.
Can I complete my point?
Yes, please, sir. Suman Raman wants to respond to that. To that because many argue let the same money be diverted in setting up COVID care facilities, including in Ahmedabad.
Yeah. 2 points. The earlier point that I was making about playing the games in cities that have been particularly affected or under lockdown, that should be avoided. For instance, playing the games from tomorrow in Delhi, which makes zero sense at all considering the situation on the ground. But there are states which are not under complete lockdown, which have cricket stadia. So perhaps the games could be played there. That's one point.
So where is the final happening, sir? Where is the final happening on the 30th of May?
I agree. Ahmedabad, look, Gaurav, that's exactly the point I'm making. Places like Ahmedabad, places like Delhi, Mumbai. Yesterday, I'll give you an example. Yesterday, Chennai is under a Sunday lockdown.
Yes.
And the matches went on till beyond 10 o'clock. So does it mean that the IPL gets special permission and exemption from the lockdown? Second, there are thousands of tests which are being done on the same people day after day after day in the bio bubble.
Yes.
So this is something which is potentially, yes, I mean, the IPL has got enough money to pay for those tests. But the point is, could those tests be better used and deployed somewhere else instead of repeatedly testing the same people every 3 days? The third point that I want to make also is that the IPL so far, BCCI and IPL, have shown phenomenal insensitivity to what is happening across the country. There's hardly been any empathy expressed by them, saying that they feel the pain of the people, offering to contribute. Individual players, Pat Cummins comes in and donates $50,000. Yes. What is the BCCI doing? What is the IPL doing? Why can't they say, look, we will set up COVID care facilities.
Yes.
We will fund this. They have huge amounts of money. In fact, so far, there's just been silence. And that's awful. That's just awful.
Okay, Saira Shah Halim, that's one point. Look, Pat Cummins has contributed $50,000, and that'll be heartening for you, to hear. But the point is, when cricket gets more money, perhaps cricket can spend more money, which Pat Cummins has. BCCI yet to do it. So Saira Shah Halim, why not let it happen?
I'll say one thing. If he's so genuinely concerned, everyone should willingly contribute. You do not need an IPL. You don't need to have this symbolic whole saga going on for days on end, especially when the pandemic is taking away so many lives. There are hospitals that are actually crying for oxygen cylinders. There are people who are losing their young sons and daughters, their bodies being put in crematoriums and morgues, and there's no place in cemeteries. There are bodies being piled up. And here, when everything is so abysmal, I feel people should collectively get together and, you know, build funds, contribute funds. People should make large donations irrespective of whether the IPL happens or does not happen.
Okay. And as Suman Raman very rightly said, Pat Cummins contributing $50,000 for Prime Minister Care Fund, especially for oxygen generation. So he's also made it very clear. Will the BCCI come forward? The point that's being made is, will the BCCI set up a huge COVID care facility, and so many more are required across the country for our people who consider cricket a religion and cricketers next only to God. Saira Shah Halim and Suman Raman, many thanks for joining me here on India First.
Hi everyone, Preeti Chaudhary here. Hope you like this video. For latest news and analysis, like and subscribe to the India Today YouTube channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated. Thank you for watching.